VR is coming, and here is why. Hey guys, I'm Shoma, and I want to challenge the way you think, and today I want to make my predictions as to the fact that VR is indeed coming, as well as where I think it will go in the future. To start off, if you don't know what VR is, I've linked a video down below. It's honestly much easier for you to actually see what VR is than for me to explain it. Hey guys, Shoma at his desk. I forgot to clarify a quick point. By VR is coming, I don't mean like it's a thing, because frankly, it's a thing already. Like, you can buy a VR headset. I mean, like, I'm gonna have VR. You're gonna have VR. Like, instead of going and waiting in line for the new iPhone, we're gonna go and wait in line for the new VR helmet, for all of the reasons that I'm gonna be mentioning today. For those of us that actually know what it is, but are still skeptical, let me explain to you why I am almost 100% certain that it is coming. And the sign that it is coming is TikTok. That's right, TikTok equals VR. But what? How does that make any sense whatsoever? Well, let's actually take a look at kind of the progression of what I'm going to call social media. Because it all started off with things like email, things like chat rooms. And then later on came things like MySpace, and then Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Vine, not that order, and then Instagram, and then now TikTok. So what does all of that have in common? And more importantly, where is it going? Well, I think the key thing that all of those have in common is just how quickly you get your dopamine spike. That's right, I think the main common factor in all of those is how short of a time does it actually take for you to hit that spike. If we start all the way in the beginning, email is a little bit clunky. You have to write an email, which takes a while, and you have to put a lot of thought into it. And then when you're reading an email, you're reading likely this long paragraphs of carefully put together text. And then you got things like text. Text is a little bit snappier, a little bit quicker, a little bit faster. And then you had things like Facebook. Now you had pictures. Now you had posts. Now you're not sending things from one person to the other person. Now you're sending it from one person to an entire group of people, all of your friends. And then along came Instagram. All things considered, Instagram, very, very high bandwidth of your dopamine spikes. Because all you need to do is you need to scroll down and interact with things just a little bit. But then along came TikTok. TikTok is devilish. When I first started the app, I was legitimately scared. Now, before you pass judgment, let me explain as to why I was specifically scared. I was scared because going into it, went, this is dumb. This is terrible. Like, wow, how can people at all like this content? And within 5 minutes, I was laughing along to all the content, because if it's scary, good AI, and it's scary, efficient way of scrolling through all of its content, all you need to do is you just need to swipe up, and then you get the next batch of highly concentrated little 15-second nugget of a cute girl, a cute dog, or somebody doing something cool, or somebody saying something funny. It's distilled fun down to an algorithm, and that algorithm feeds it to you perpetually, where it almost never runs out of content. And this to me is a little bit scary, not because of this, not because of specifically TikTok, but of where TikTok will go. Very clearly, we like our escapisms. We like our swipe up and here's a funny, and swipe up and here's a cute girl, and swipe up and here's a cute dog. But now let's imagine that with VR. So now you're putting on a helmet. Now it's three-dimensional. You're not just holding a tiny little phone. Now you have an entire screen in front of you. Now you can have 20 of those swiping up all at once. Now you can have full immersion. And that is why I think VR is coming, is because VR is just the next iteration of TikTok. Now, there will likely be something else between VR and TikTok, but it is coming for that very reason, because now you're even more immersed. Now it's even quicker with the dopamine burst, because you just have way more bandwidth. because now you're not just having your phone, now you have your entire peripheral vision at your disposal to get entertained. But doom and gloom aside, VR is gonna be great. And here are my future predictions of where VR will be going. And I think that is almost very clearly AR. Now you're probably saying, but there are AR glasses out there. You can put on essentially a pair of glasses and you have little AR displays. Now, the problem with those is that those little AR displays are susceptible to light. When light shines through them, they're inevitably gonna become slightly more faded. I think it's significantly easier to have something like a VR goggle with a camera in front of it, many cameras in fact, recording your outside and essentially displaying it to you in a screen with things that are now able to be overlaid on top of it. And I think that will be the future, is everyone walking around, or at least having the option of walking around with these VR goggles strapped to their heads, seeing everything, but all of a sudden having their text conversation here, having their game here, having whatever else that they're doing right here. And all of that while they are walking. Now, this can be scary, and I know some people are scared and some people are hopeful, but let's just look at the optimal things. And also, let's look at a quick problem with that. And that problem is, how are we going to compute all of that? Because an AR goggle, something, let's just say like Google Glass, even though that's a terrible example of AR. If you look at Google Glass, it's a relatively small amount of things that it can actually do. Whereas something like a VR goggle will be able to do an infinite amount of things. Maybe you could have a person walking beside you in VR and you can see them with perfect realism. But the problem with that is that takes a lot of computing power. And so I think the revolutionary technology alongside VR that needs to happen, that is also very controversial, is 5G. Because 5G, with a huge asterisk of doesn't kill us, doesn't cause mind control, it's not an evil weapon of the government, because those are all things that I've been hearing, and I'm not sure where to stand on 5G, but I'd like to remain hopeful. But assuming it's not a bad thing, assuming that 5G is basically all the good things that they are promising us, which it will likely be slightly less than that, but it still will be amazing. Having seamless connection between your VR goggle and your computer at home would allow you to essentially process all of that. Would allow you to have a person walking next to you with full realism, because now you're able to offload all of that computing to your computer at home, to the cloud. And I think that is going to be extremely, extremely interesting. Imagine the possibilities of what we could do with full 3D graphics rendered not in your glasses, but in offsite, and by offsite I mean not by the glasses, but rendered at your home or at other server farms all around the world. Imagine the possibilities of what you can do with essentially magic. Because this technology would basically just be holograms. It would be slightly different from holograms, but for all intents and purposes, it would be holograms. Now, I think that is mind-blowing, and I think that is something that is really worth getting excited about, even though there are the warnings of we do need to watch out. And that actually is going to be a huge message on my part. Because though these are coming and though these are great, we still need to watch out. Because we could still fall into a whole bunch of traps. But if we don't, and we only reap the benefits, then it will be fantastic. If you made it this far, please hit that subscribe button, because I will have a lot of these coming to you in the very near future. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow.